Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Karan and today I'm going to introduce you guys how to import images into Adobe Photoshop. We'll also be learning about a few tools along the way. The first thing I want you guys to do is to open your web browser and type in www.pexels.com. That's pexels.com. Pexels.com is a website where you can download free to use images and video assets for your projects. Normally, if you use a famous website, certain famous websites like shutterstock.com or gettyimages.com, those are images, and through those websites, the images you download and the video assets you use, you have to purchase a license to use them. Because they're the property of the person who's created that asset, right? But on pexels.com, any asset you download, it's free to use. But just in case, go through their license once to get an idea of their terms and conditions. So if you're ever using any of their assets for commercial projects, just ensure that you're following the terms and conditions of their license, right? Once the website loads, just go into the search engine and type in whatever image you want to use in your project. I'm going to type in Lotus Temple because that's the image I want to use, right? This is the image I'm going to use of the Lotus Temple. For those of you who don't know, the Lotus Temple is a famous temple in New Delhi, India. There's really no other reason I'm using this photo, but I just think the building looks really cool. So you guys can use any image you want. Yeah, this is uploaded by a person called Swapnil Deshpandey. And you just have to click on the free download button to download this image. Once you do that, your browser is going to ask you where to save the file, and just decide to a place where you want to save it. I'm just going to save it here on my desktop. I've already done it, so I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to go ahead with saving it again. And once that's done, you can close your browser and you can just open Photoshop. Once you have Photoshop opened, you go to the create new button, which I've shown in the previous video what that's about. You can also go to file in the menu bar and just click on new or control plus N on your keyboard, or if it's Mac, I believe you have to write command plus N. But yeah, once that opens, like I said in the previous video, if you do not remember what I'm saying in this video or some of the terms that I'm using in this video, I've explained certain terms in the previous video, and you can just feel free to revisit that video if you're not aware of what I'm speaking of, or if you don't remember what we discussed in the last video. But yeah, I'm just going to go to the web option this time in the new document window, and I'm going to click on web most common as my preset. If you don't have presets available, just type in the width and height you see right now on the screen, and just make sure that your measurement unit selected is pixels, and your resolution is 72 pixels per inch. And yeah, you can name your image anything you want, this document, whatever you want to name it, you can name. I'm just going to leave it as untitled for now, and I'm going to click on create. So now that the document has been created, right, first thing I want to tell you guys is right now you can see this gray space around your white canvas, right? If you remember, I called this area as the work area in the previous video. So right now, if you go right at the bottom left, you can see that this is not completely zoomed in right now. It's at 66.67% zoom. So that what that means is you're not actually looking at it at 100% zoom. So how do you do that? Well, one way of doing that is you can just, where it's written 66.67, you can move your arrow there and just type in 100. Yeah, and if you click enter, you'll notice that it'll zoom into its actual size of the window. What you can do other than this is also, you can just go to the zoom tool, which is this tool right at the bottom of the toolbar, and its shortcut is Z. By default on the zoom tool, you'll be on the plus icon, which means that you can zoom in. But if you go to the options bar with the zoom tool selected, you can go to minus to go back to a certain percentage. So now it's 50%, and if you can just click on the plus icon again in the options bar to zoom in. An easier way to do this is just to click Control or Command if you're using Mac, and the plus icon on your keyboard. So if I put Control plus, it zooms in. If I go Control minus, it zooms out, right? And there's another way. So if you guys want to, let's say I've zoomed in too much. Now I can't see the complete canvas, right? So how do I zoom out? If you just type in Command 0 or Control 0 on your machine, you'll go back to a screen that's fitting your window. So right now, you can see that the whole document is fitting in the work area I have. Basically, it's covering as much space as it can before it starts to zoom in, right? So yeah, those are some of that's how you use the zoom tool, and Control 0 is a great way to just come back to a screen that's fitting, that you can see the whole picture of your canvas. So what we're going to do is we're going to minimize Photoshop. This is one way of doing it, and just go to the folder where you've saved the image that you just downloaded. In my case, I saved it on my desktop, so I'm just gonna hold that image. I'm gonna click on it, and I'm gonna drag it all the way to my Photoshop icon, and I'm gonna place it here. I'm just gonna leave my button over the canvas window. So now that the image is placed on the document on my canvas, you can see that it still has borders around it. What that means is that the image is still selected, but it's not been placed. It's not been placed on your document yet. To place it, you have to hit enter or return, and that's it. And then it's done. There's another way where you can that you can use to import images onto Photoshop, and that's by going into File in your menu bar and clicking on Open or Control plus O. Through your Control if you're using Windows, Command plus O if you're using Mac. It'll ask you to browse the location where your image is located. For me, it's already open because it's on my desktop, and you just click on your image or your file and click on Open. The difference between these two methods is that when you do it this way, it'll by default open this image as a new document. So it's separate from the document you had created, right? You can see the names, they'll come as tabs, like browser tabs on the top here, just below your option bar. And then you go to your layers panel, and you will find the layer called background here. I'll explain what layers are in my future videos, but for now you just go to the background layer and you press and hold that, and drag it all the way to your document window that you've created. For me, it's Untitled 1, and you just drag it all the way here to the canvas and leave it. This is another way of placing it. I find the first way a bit easier for me, but you guys can do whatever you find, whichever way you find easier, just follow through with that. So I'm just going to take it from my desktop and I'm going to place it here. Now, one thing I want to point out here is, now that I've dragged it in this way, and I'm pressing enter or return in Mac, to place it, I can see these white bars on each side of the image. I don't like that. I want this image to fit the complete canvas size, right? So what you're going to do here is, I'm going to on my keyboard, I'm going to type Control plus T. On Windows, it's Command plus T, and that's going to select the whole image, so I can see the borders again. And I'm going to move my mouse. I'm going to hover my mouse over the corners, this corner, and my icon of my arrow will change, right? It becomes this kind of a two-sided arrow, and what that means is I can resize my image from this particular corner. You can do it from any of these square boxes. I'm just going to do it from this top right corner. I'm going to click on it, and I'm just going to drag it up. I'm going to drag it up, but I still can't see the complete image. So I'm just going to go to my zoom tool, hit the minus button here. You can also control minus if you want. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go back to my move tool, okay, which is its shortcut is V on the keyboard. And I'm going to select the picture once again, and I'm going to drag it to see if it fits. It still doesn't fit. So I'm going to go to Control T again. I'm going to type Control T again. Command T if it's on Mac. And I'm going to press on this corner and just keep dragging it a little bit more. And now I'm just going to see if it fits. I'm just gonna move the image around to see if it fits, and yeah, it does. So I'm just gonna hit enter, and I've placed the image. So this is how you place an image in Photoshop, and I also showed you guys how to use the zoom tool. I'm gonna go into my layers in my next video probably, or at least in the coming videos I'm working on. So yeah, if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know in the comments below. I'm going to put all the links for Pexels.com, and if I use in my any other videos, if I use any assets, I'm going to leave the links for them in the description box below.